What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us again this week. We appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't noticed, we've been struggling with our lighting, our cameras, and kind of gotten a little bit crazy, inconsistent, but I think we finally got it dialed in. We're a 4-person team. We're not exactly a big podcast studio, but we're also not just a couple people with a couple of mics and one camera. It's actually Indy, Sukfir, Simmer, me. We all kind of learn on the fly, try to get this thing going. Yeah. Hopefully we got this whole thing dialed in by now.
I think so.
But yeah, did you guys hear about GameStop? They bought $513 million worth of Bitcoin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's surging too right now.
Right? It seems like it's almost recession proof. I don't know. I think it jumped up to like $111,000.
Yeah.
And by the end of May, like May 20th, May 22nd, something like that.
Yeah, Trump's definitely good for stocks.
Right? The meme coins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, let's get into these stories.
Yeah.
All right. So first, we got Elon's officially out of the White House.
Yeah, they're saying a lot of things about this guy. I don't know how much of it's true.
Yeah, I don't know if you could believe it all, right? Next, we got Trump really said that he'd consider pardoning Diddy.
I mean, oil's a hot commodity.
Could you imagine if he actually pardons this guy?
I can't.
Then Mark Carney made his first appearance in Parliament.
Yeah, this guy's spinning in circles again.
Looks like it. This guy doesn't look like he likes answering questions. Next, did you guys hear about the new Canadian dental plan?
Yeah, who's actually going to benefit from this thing, though?
Not everyone, but it starts June 1st. Also, Trump's got, you guessed it, new tariffs.
Yeah, the most beautiful word in the English language.
Tariffs.
He's a tariff man on a tariff land.
Then, did you guys know that an airline is planning to fire its passengers for standing?
I love this. Should be mandatory on every flight.
Really? Yeah. You're one of those people? You don't jump in the aisle first?
No.
Okay. Next, we found an interesting story. Apparently, sleeping in separate rooms might help your marriage.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Right? It's a little bit weird. Maybe I'm just traditional. I don't know. And last, France looks like they're banning smoking outdoors.
I think it's a good move.
I mean, I get it for kids, but I think you're going to get a little bit of pushback there too.
Maybe. In sports, we got NHL and NBA finals. They're locked in now. Yeah. We got, there was some debate over handshake lines in the NHL, whether it's like necessary, who should be in them. Stefon Diggs was up to some stuff.
I saw that on a boat.
And NBA trade rumors. We'll go over them.
And for off topic, we'll talk about Taylor Swift, Tinder, and a couple other things.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
We'll give you our thoughts and opinions on all of that. So, Elon Musk, he's been getting a lot of backlash over the last couple of weeks, but it seems like he's finally going to step away from the White House.
It's official now.
Yeah, they had like a whole meeting in the Oval Office about it. And here's a clip.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Today it's about a man named Elon. And he's one of the greatest business leaders and innovators the world has ever produced. With the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon's delivered a colossal change in the old ways of doing business in Washington.
The Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will only grow stronger. And I'm confident that over time we'll see $1 trillion of savings.
Doge father.
Many of the Doge people, Elon, are staying behind too, so they're not leaving. And Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling it's his baby, and I think he's going to be doing a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like right before that happened, this guy, there was a clip that surfaced. He was doing some interview, and he said he wasn't okay with the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
And then immediately afterwards this happened. And we know all the things leading up to it.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it last week, right? The political spending, he's cutting back. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's a difficult place.
Yeah.
For, like, he had such a big monumental role in the campaign.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think that's sometimes you don't realize that you maybe don't agree with every single thing that a political party is doing, right? Sure. You give a little bit of pushback, people see it a little bit differently, right? But then there was also some drug allegations.
Basically the New York Times, they allege that he was taking a bunch of ketamine, and so much so that it affected his bladder. That's what they were saying. And they also accused him of taking psychedelic mushrooms and like other drugs too.
But isn't that a lot of that from like, you know, when you went on Rogan and then he was smoking some weed, right? And then Rogan's obviously pro psychedelics, right? And they were talking about them a lot, so I feel like the left started weirdly making that a thing, like he does so many drugs. Even then he made a huge stink about it in Tesla and everything. And then
they were calling for him to resign.
Like right.
What's ketamine? What kind of drug is it? Like a psychedelic?
I have no idea.
I'm only even asking because do you guys know The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives or something? Have you heard of the show?
Yeah.
No.
So they all do ketamine, but like,
what?
A bunch of them do these ketamine.
You know Matthew Perry from Friends? That's the drug that he overdosed
OD'd on?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so random.
That's crazy.
Or not overdose, because he took it, then he went into the hot tub and his heart stopped.
Yeah.
Like that.
People
but it was ketamine.
Ketamine therapy, it's a thing.
I think it's like an upper.
Right here it says ketamine is a disassociative and anti-aesthetic? No.
Anesthetic.
Yeah. What? Yeah. That has some hallucinogenic effects.
Oh, so it's a downer.
Yeah.
Even in the article, the New York Times article, they like, when you read it, they're just showcasing it in a way it seems pretty biased.
Yeah.
And they're like, they got the salute there. They got the picture of him on Rogan.
That's what I was going to... There's the Rogan thing, and then there was the inauguration thing.
Yeah.
Right, where you see him, and then you see Barron beside him, and you see him just spazzing out, and Barron just standing there calling, right? And they keep showing the side-by-side.
Yeah.
I think that also then shows a little bit of like where he was at.
I mean, drug use would explain his behavior. Remember him at that inauguration? This guy was just like looking all over the place, all spacey.
Even him right now.
Yeah, he's always shifty. Yeah. And then you never know if that's like, then they say he's on the spectrum.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even now with the drug allegations, like, do they have proof?
Not really.
No, they're just allegations. Right?
Yeah.
So where are they coming from?
It's this
his
stuff.
behavior.
Yeah, it's his behavior.
He's all erratic and stuff.
Yeah, and then I think there's like certain, I don't know who has actually come out and said that they've seen him use it, but there's like rumors.
Yeah, like it's all people, and they don't specify exactly who. It's just people he worked with and stuff. They say apparently he was using it at work, private parties and stuff. I don't know. It's all hearsay, right?
Yeah.
There's no one directly named.
Yeah.
And that same press conference in the Oval Office, he came out and denied it. I think we have a clip of it too.
There's this. Some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room were the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer counter.
It is.
I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times.
Let's move on. There's this.
Yeah. Even in that tweet there, he's like, they're completely lying. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much of that I like. Not saying that I don't believe him. I don't know how much of it you can believe the New York Times, because obviously they have a bias, right? They're a left-leaning news source.
Yeah.
Right. And then you also he's gonna like, no one person is perfect.
For sure.
Right. And if you're gonna try to, I don't know, to kind of just get him out of there.
Yeah.
Right. And then there was a lot of this speculation over the black eye. Did you see all of this?
No.
But yeah, right when he was at this Oval Office, right, the first thing that you notice there is the fact that has a black eye.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we have a clip of.
Is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so.
What does that mean?
I didn't notice it.
First lady of France.
Oh, he said he wasn't in France.
No.
So, yeah, no, I was just messing around with Little X, and I said, go ahead, punch me in the face, and he did. Turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X, you
I
could
saw his
do it.
mom right now. But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I was just messing around with the kids.
I didn't
basically.
notice it, actually.
Who didn't notice that? Trump's
Yeah.
like, I didn't notice that.
Like
I mean-
so proudly he's saying it. Like
I mean, I think it was last week we were saying they kind of left him out to dry.
Mm.
Trump did do this whole press conference, and then he said too, he's like, he's fantastic. There's no problems with Elon. So I think maybe he kind of even did it just to like show everybody like I have his back.
Yeah.
Type of deal. I don't know.
I mean, who knows what really happened there,
Yeah.
right? But there's a lot that's been going on with this guy. Steve Bannon's been going at him for a while now,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't know if you saw what he said in the Daily Mail. So he goes, and I quote, Scott Bessent called him out and said, you promised us $1 trillion in cuts, and now you're like $100 billion and nobody can find anything. What are you doing? Bannon said. And that's when Elon got physical. It's a sore subject with him. It was an argument. It was a physical confrontation. Elon basically shoved him. And then they go on in the same article I was reading about how they turned the West Wing into like a WWE match. And apparently they're yelling. It goes outside, I don't remember who else's office. And they're yelling F-bombs to each other, right? And Elon's like, I can't hear you. And like 3 F-bombs. He's like, louder, please, right? But this happened in April.
Yeah.
Right? So this was something that, like, I don't know, apparently there's a back and forth there. And then he's had a run-in with Rubio. But these are all allegations, rumors, and stuff, right? Nobody comes out and addresses these things. But Steve Bannon's been going at this guy for a while, right?
I mean,
so
where there's smoke, there's fire. That sounds like there's a lot going on with this guy.
there is, right? But there's also
drugs
this,
would explain it.
I mean, that's how I feel like
Definitely would.
the world likes to come for somebody and they like to try to cancel these people, right?
Yeah.
But like if you look at it from an outside perspective, right? Elon was an integral part to Trump winning that election because you guys remember that
100%.
meeting that Elon had with Trump when he actually went and he met with him when it seemed like all the funding was going away from Trump. They're like, how is he going to fund his campaign? How is he going to do his legal proceedings? And then Elon comes and magically everything goes away.
Yeah.
And now there's this powerhouse behind you who helps you win an election. So you can see why Trump somewhat has a...
Yeah, and he gave him a lot of support too, financially.
He did give him a lot of support, but then he also leaves him a little bit in the wind.
Yeah.
Right? But then, I don't know. So there's a lot being made about this whole thing, right? But I don't know if you guys caught when Trump was like, he'll be back and go back and
he
forth,
did.
right?
Yeah.
So there's this thing, right?
Yeah.
Where Elon, he would have been up for review in the next coming days, right? So if you're a special employee to the White House, you have 130 days, right? After that, they put you under review and there's like more strict ethics restrictions that you have to go through.
Yeah.
And you have to divest your businesses.
Okay.
Or something along those lines, right?
Okay.
But if he stops before the 130 days, he doesn't have to do that, right? So there is this idea that
That
like
he's dodging that?
it's two things can be true, right? All of this stuff can be going on, right? And there could be a part of the right wing, a part of the MAGA crowd, like Steve Bannon, like the Rubios of the world, that don't really like Elon.
Yeah.
And behind the scenes, Bannon's up front about it, but behind the scenes, they're kind of shitting on him.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that Trump probably knows that this thing's running its course in 130 days anyways.
Yeah.
Right. So if he's going to come back as some sort of special employee or advisor or whatever, he still could. But I don't know what that relationship looks like now.
Yeah.
Right. But to me, it makes a little bit of sense. Right. He kind of timed out on that side of it.
Yeah.
Right. So he was never meant to run it full steam. Right.
Yeah.
And then
the other part of it is like, is it him stepping away or did he get fired? Right.
Yeah.
I think it's more so we didn't even talk about like this guy manages Tesla, X, SpaceX, like how many different companies, right? And maybe part of it's like he didn't want to lose a competitive edge.
Well, it's a couple of things, right? One, you don't become the richest man on the planet by just being an idiot, right? Like you need to. Well, he does it because he's innovative with all the tech, right?
Yeah.
And where he's going with everything. But like a little bit, he has strong opinions.
Yeah.
right? And if you look at any government, whether that's left or right, they're going to stick to their agenda.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And normal people, rational people, they don't 100% agree with any government.
Yeah.
Right? You're kind of in the center. Some things you agree with this, some things you agree with that. That's kind of how it works,
you
right?
lean both ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I think at some point you just kind of realize that your views don't 100% align with somebody or not,
Yeah,
right? Because I think his whole thing with Doge was running it like a corporation or a company. And when you run a company or corporation efficiently, you get rewarded. You get rewarded with higher stock prices. You get rewarded with more trust in the company, right? When you do that in a government, you don't necessarily get rewarded. They don't. The public just cares about optics and they care about feelings
and headlines,
right? Like it doesn't matter what's going on, right? You've seen that in Canada. They were able to convince the entire country that this is a tariff war, right? And that's the main problem we have going on, right? And right now, the economy is going to shit, right? And everybody's in panic mode, pretty much, right? But you saw what happened. Headlines are headlines, right? And whoever's better at pushing narratives, that's what happens. But I think they're done for now.
Yeah.
Who knows what the future holds? And I think he might have destroyed his relationship with some people.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's still some relationship there with Trump.
It seems like Trump's still on his side, but I do think a lot of companies are coming for Tesla now too, like Slate. And now, did you guys hear about RIM? You remember RIM?
Yeah.
BlackBerry?
Yeah.
They're gonna get in the electric car space now.
Wow.
Like that's random. So all these people are like thinking he's preoccupied and they're trying to get market share, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably another thing. His business has probably started to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot going on there.
Yeah. Trump said something wild.
What did he say?
Apparently he's considering pardoning Diddy. And here's a clip.
Wow.
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening. And I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. Like the first part of it, I was laughing at it because that's all I saw. I didn't see the full clip in its entirety.
Yeah.
But I feel like looking at it like that, he didn't say anything wrong there.
No.
I feel like
he didn't seem like he was going to do it.
Yeah. But I think the headlines made it seem like he was going to do it.
People are like running with it. Yeah. I think that he was just trying to say he'd be impartial, but I don't think he would even actually do it. I think this guy loves playing around and he loves the media attention. And he purposefully just says things that'll get in headlines, get people talking.
Yeah, to me, it sounded like he said if he did corrupt things, Diddy would still like him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, so he doesn't like him anymore. But Diddy never told him that. He just read it.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is the point of this conversation?
I mean, presidential pardons are nothing new, right? And every president grants clemency or pardons. It's normal, right?
Yeah.
I think we even have a chart showing past presidents and what they've actually granted. Yeah, so if you look at that, Biden had 80.
Yeah.
Right? But then you had 144 pardons for Trump's first term, Obama 212, right?
Obviously, in the thousands.
Yeah, Roosevelt obviously, but he served for a longer term than the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at that, right? This doesn't include Trump's current presidency, but if you look at that, it's nothing out of the ordinary, right?
Yeah.
It's just like everything else. We're covered now.
He just pardoned NBA young boy. the rapper.
Yeah.
But the fallout from that would be insane. I don't think anyone's like
the Diddy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after you see the video of Diddy and Cassie, right, in the hotel, right, I don't think there's a single person who's going to be like, yeah, this guy deserves a pardon.
I haven't. One person hasn't come to this guy's defense. Not even one.
Like a lot of people are saying Trump should have just said no. Like, what was the point of
That's what I'm saying.
Replying?
He likes it. He likes to mess around.
There is that, but there's also this level of respect I feel like you can give, that I give to a person, where I'm like, that's what everyone wants him to say, but he's being objective, right?
But he's not an objective type of guy. When he wants to make fun of, like, for instance, Trudeau.
That's very true.
What do you mean?
Governor Trudeau.
Yeah.
He's very, like, jokey, blunt.
But he's doing that to get a rise out of somebody.
Yeah.
I think he's doing the same thing
here.
I think he's doing the exact same thing. That's my opinion.
I don't know if he's doing the exact same thing or if it's just... okay, because he does say he doesn't know what's going on with the case, and he goes, if it's unpopular or not, if he didn't want to pardon him. It kind of sounded like to me towards the end of it that it seemed like he was saying that if he chooses not to pardon him and people don't like it, like he doesn't, I don't even think he knows where people stand on it, if they're for Diddy or not for Diddy or what's going on, right? Because I don't, like, who knows? But it's a big enough case where people would know about it somewhere, right?
I don't. That would be crazy if he actually did. That's all.
I don't think he will. I feel like he will.
Yeah, I think there would be too much.
But I can't hold anything past Trump anymore.
And he has to be convicted too, right? You can't preemptively.
He does have to. You can issue preemptive pardons.
Yeah.
Biden did for his whole family before he left office.
But can you do it when he's already on trial?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, executive power with the president runs pretty deep. I'm not sure if he can exactly do that or not.
Yeah.
But I think this whole thing gets more attention because of like NBA YoungBoy, kind of like these kind of public figures that are getting pardons.
Yeah.
Right. Versus like before they weren't that public. Right.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to give these people pardons, then you're going to get a little bit of this. Right.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah. We'll see what happens there. Let's move on to Canadian politics. So Mark Carney was finally in Parliament for his debut.
Yeah.
And this is how he answered some of the questions by Andrew Scheer and another MP.
Election campaign, it was elbows up as he put retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Then secretly, he dropped those tariffs to effectively zero. But he didn't stop there. He told Canadians that the government would collect $20 billion in revenue from those tariffs and use it to cost his platform. Now that those tariffs are going to bring in $0, two quick questions. Why wasn't he honest with Canadians during the election? And how's he going to make up the shortfall? Is he going to borrow it, print it, or tax it?
Our tariffs have maximum impact on the United States, minimum impact on Canada, and we are dedicating all the revenues from those tariffs to supporting the workers and businesses affected by the unjustified American act.
We know that he's going to say that this new spending is investments, but he's going to spend a record $26 billion on consultants. That's $1,400 per family per year, and that's more than the tax cut that he just talked about. He literally said on Tuesday morning that he would cap government spending, and he said it again today at 2%. And by the afternoon, he drops a bill in the House of Commons to raise spending by 8%. So how is the Prime Minister going to reconcile what he said versus on Tuesday morning with what he did on Tuesday afternoon?
I thank the honourable member for the question, because it goes to the heart of the transformation this government intends. The first is to shift the core of spending from day-to-day spending, operational spending, to investment spending. In other words, spending that catalyzes investment, particularly investment in the private sector. Mr. Speaker, we'll see that through Build Canada Homes. We'll see that through the nation-building projects. We'll see that through facilities to accelerate private business investments, such as accelerated capital allowances.
Yeah. Whenever this guy's asked any kind of question, he never gives answers.
I mean, yeah. In the first clip, he dodged the answer or the question.
I mean, that Andrew Scheer is just, it's kind of you can allude to the fact that, you know, he was going to spend it in certain ways and what he's saying and what he did, right? But it just completely doesn't really say anything about the question. He just makes up his own version of an answer.
Like he could have, easy answer would have been like, oh, that's just completely false, that article or anything. He just totally denied it.
Yeah.
He's like, the tariffs are, he could have just said the tariffs are still ongoing. He's like, the tariffs will benefit Canadians. That's all he says.
I mean, the thing is, the guy has no budget, right?
Yeah.
And we have no idea of knowing what he's doing with the money, where the tariffs are going. I think even when we were originally talking about the tariffs, like a few weeks, months ago, I think I said something along the lines of like, we don't know where that money's going and who's getting it. And we still don't know.
And he still didn't tell us. He said they're going to benefit Canadian businesses, but he didn't tell us where.
And like that other MP was saying that she was going to, she's like, he's saying it's going to go to Canadian investments, but then he's spending X amount of dollars on consultants.
Yeah.
Right? How do you know where he's using the money and where it's coming from if it's going to Canadian?
Why are you spending so much on consultants?
I don't know. And this bureaucracy, Build Canada Homes, right? I think the people behind him, nobody was nodding or anything except for like one white lady. I saw her going, yeah.
No, a bunch of them were nodding. I was noticing that too.
I mean, Build Canada Homes, like, so you're getting, he's saying he's getting the private sector involved, right? What you're doing is that you're building houses so you can rent them out to people, right? And you're saying that that's an investment for Canada.
Yeah.
You're trying to make everybody just rent from the government in this economy, right? And that's how you're going to solve everything. Now, we already see mortgages and housing, what's happening with it, right? And then this is the direction you're taking in terms of investments, right?
Yeah, and she even told him exactly what he was going to say. She's like,
and then he's
like, claim that you're investing. First thing he says is like, yeah, we're investing the money. That's what we're going to do with it.
Bro, when he starts talking, I'm like, I don't know why most liberals are this way. Not people, but like just the government especially.
Yeah.
It's like they're so scared of answering the question, right? Of the judgment that they're going to get for actually saying what they believe or their feelings or whatever, that they'd rather just not answer the question.
Exactly. Especially a liberal's going to do that, right?
What? You're people like, okay, if we're center right at this point, right, and we're sitting here and we're dissecting it from our viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
If he said something that differed from it, he'd get similar reactions from us, right? We're still going to be like, well, that's dumb because we disagree with it, right? Like, well, that's what we think, right? That's why we're on this side of things, right?
Yeah.
But if he doesn't say anything, he gets the same reaction. So what are you scared of?
Exactly.
Right?
And not saying something is probably worse, right?
But yeah, in that same parliamentary meeting, did you see Bruce Fanjoy?
No, I did not.
The guy got a standing ovation.
Really?
Yeah, they're like cheering him on. He's the guy that beat Polyev and Carlton.
Oh.
Yeah. They're cheering him on like he slayed a dragon or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the longest standing ovation was from him.
Wow.
More than Carney?
But yeah, you would think after a 5-month break.
Yeah.
Right? Like these guys haven't been in parliament since December.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever side you're on, liberal, conservative, right?
Yeah.
The federal government hasn't worked for half the year.
Yeah.
Right? And they just been running these campaigns, making up BS, and both sides do it, sure, right?
Yeah.
But you would think after half the year, you'd have something more than whatever the hell this was.
Yeah.
Right?
Or at least a plan, a budget in place.
That's why he has a consultant, right?
Yeah, that's what he has, right? Instead, you're back to these same old partisan debates that go nowhere, and then he's answering no questions.
I feel like they're going to keep drilling him on that too, the report, like that Sheer brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like apparently those tariffs are already at zero. That's what Bloomberg reported.
Yeah.
That's the thing he dodged.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't talk about it.
Yeah, he just said tariffs are going to benefit Canadians.
I feel like he's kind of turning into the don't answer any questions prime minister. Like he doesn't answer them. Right? And like while he was talking there, I lost him a few times. I don't know if you noticed my reaction coming out of this thing. I was like, what did he say?
Because
he stops and he just goes somewhere.
He goes in circles, man. And
I will say though that he does sound more confident than in any other time.
Is it confidence or is he bloviating? Right, like it's just saying extra words and just filling.
Trump does that too. He like goes around. And
but when Trump does his weaves, it turns into this big, beautiful story, right? And then he comes back to like something, right? Like this guy, he just goes, yeah. And BCH, Build Canada Homes. We're investing in the investment, the private sector. Like that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say what you will about Trump, but he does stand on stuff. He'll say something, and he's not afraid of the pushback. Or
when we started podcasting, right? It's a learning curve, right? And like learning how to talk consistently for 2 hours, right? It's not an easy thing, right?
Yeah.
And when this guy's in Parliament, right? Clearly, he doesn't have the skill to just go on and talk to people just at will, right?
Yeah.
But like the one thing that about Trump, if we're gonna make a comparison there, when Trump did these rallies, they're like 3-hour long rallies.
Yeah.
Like this guy comes out there. I know there's probably some sort of teleprompter or script going on, but the way he just goes off,
he's scared.
I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
even the election, that's what they're saying. They're like, dude, you got to trust the banker and not the politician or Polyev, right?
Yeah.
Polyev was a lot better at public speaking and getting his message out there and saying what he wants to say, right? This guy doesn't have much experience. He's never been a politician.
I think it's this thing where I don't know why. From a conservative, you're going to get like whatever their opinion is, you're going to get it and they're going to stand on it and they kind of say it with confidence.
Yeah.
Right. And you can disagree with it, call it stupid, say whatever you want. Right. You see what Trump does, you see what Polyev does. He just stands on it. This is how I feel. Right. From a liberal, you always get this impression from a government. I'm not saying a person, right? You'll get this impression that like maybe I might agree with you, maybe not, but we're going to choose this route.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not really going to let you know what I'm thinking, really. Right. And that's kind of all you get.
Yeah.
Right. But
and Scheer was doing a good job in there. Do you think like he might stay on?
No, the thing with Andrew Scheer is, man, ever since he's lost to Trudeau in that first election and then he lost his seat, the way that whole thing played out, right? Like, there's no way Andrew Scheer stays on, right?
But, like, even Polyev, when he comes out and he talks or he pulls something on his YouTube, my own personal suggestion would be, like, just stop until you get back in the house. It doesn't hit the same.
I mean, well, now it's June, right? And I think it's probably going to come back in September, October, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like, I agree. Like, you got to give a little bit there, but it's not going to hit the same until you get that seat back.
Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully his support doesn't wane.
I don't think it will. I think even Bruce Fanjoy showing like them like clapping for him out loud. It shows you how nervous they are of this entire situation, right? They were so happy that they dodged that bullet, right? And especially that he's not even in the. If he was in the house,
he'd be grilling him a lot better.
That would have been different, right? And then you see
maybe that's even coming from him. It feels like a Polyev thing.
What?
Like to push this article, like, oh, your tariffs are already as
well. It's definitely coming from him, right? That's one thing. But you also got to understand Andrew Scheer, Pierre Polyev, Stephen Harper. They're from the same sort of camp, right? They kind of, they roll in the same circles, to say the least, right? So they have the same sort of ideas when it comes to, I'm sure they're sitting down and talking about how this whole thing's going to play out.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But something that is changing is a Canadian dental plan. So this plan is, it's in its second year, but they're expanding to 35 to 54-year-olds starting June 1st. This is one of those big things that Jagmeet was pushing with the NDP. I think it started back in 2023.
Yeah.
So who's eligible? It's seniors 65 years of age and older, uninsured adults between the ages of 18 to 64, children under 18 from qualifying families, people with disabilities. And what do you need to qualify for? You need to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, not have private dental insurance, and meet the minimum income requirements.
Okay.
The last part, that's the important part. If you could pull up a picture of the income requirements. So household annual income under 70,000, 100% of dental costs are covered.
Okay.
Right. And then if you look at between 70 and 79,000, 60%, between 80 and basically 90,000, 40%. And if you make more than $90,000 a year, you get absolutely no dental coverage.
Okay.
Right. According to them.
So in this thing in its first year, 3.4 million Canadians were approved, right? And of those people that were approved, only 1.7 million actually used it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot of wasted money.
Even that, if you're eligible, you have to go on CRA's website and like register, and every year you have to do that.
Yeah.
So there's all these loopholes. It's not like it's not like OHIP. You just walk into your doctors and it just works out, right?
Yeah, it's not universal free dental care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you look at the income side of it, as of 2024, the average Canadian household income before taxes is approximately $106,000.
Yeah.
Right. And with a medium median, sorry, before tax income is 84,000, and this is CMHC, right? So yes, this helps. Like, I feel like it helps the less fortunate somewhat, right? And like you're saying, half of it is basically misused, right? But what about people who make just $50,000 a year?
Exactly.
What are they going to do, right? Their household incomes would be $100,000, right? And that's not like it's a lot of money.
Even like quickly, I just checked like ChatGPT, and the estimated annual salary of somebody working minimum wage in Ontario is 34 grand. So that's two minimum wage workers in a household. Those are the only people that completely benefit from this thing. They'll get free dental. Right? But what about the rest of the country? That's not the majority of the country. Like, only 3 million Canadians qualified even for their first phase, right? And a lot of those are seniors.
Yeah.
So it's clearly skewed one way.
Yeah. I think there is this thing to it, though. What you're saying, 2 minimum wage people, they could probably use the dental, right? But I think then the cutoff should be more steep.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you're going to do that, right, and then you're going to have it progressively increase, but then cut it off at like pretty much the line that makes not even affordability, the ability to maybe live paycheck to paycheck, is if you're making 50K a year, between a husband and wife, they're making 100 grand. That's like borderline, right? These days, right? I was even looking at a story the other day about Loblaws. So the government's basically giving a 6-month tariff reprieve on certain food and beverage related items. And according to Loblaws, in a recent food inflation report, in a conventional grocery store, they can be upwards of 80,000 items, and consumers can expect tariff related increases on approximately 6,000, about half of which are food. Right? That's just one example of prices going up. Right? So then if you look at where prices are increasing, right, and what's going on, right, where people need help, and then they keep pushing, like, and now the free dental, it goes into effect June 1st, right? There's a lot of Canadians, right, who you already see the housing market and what's happening there. You see the middle class is getting completely crushed.
For sure.
At this point.
I don't think it helps the average Canadian at all.
Yeah, it helps lower income Canadians, sure.
How many people do you see online, Instagram, TikTok, what have you, YouTube, they're complaining that even 100K doesn't cut it. I can't even afford rent, this and that. What the hell does this dental program do for them?
It's not going to do anything for them. And obviously they're going to get frustrated, right? When you have a government that's not telling you what their budget is, right? And then they keep talking about this $840 a year that you're going to save in taxes that he's saying is coming out. That's like, what, $70 a month? Right? I don't know. To me, how are you supposed to get excited about some sort of dental plan that isn't even going to work for you, right? And that's for most middle-class families, right? Who end up paying a lot of taxes.
Exactly. That's all it's going to do. It's going to raise your taxes. That's all it's going to do.
It's going to come out somewhere at some point, right? There will be some new form of a carbon tax or something that we haven't heard of yet, right? that they need to keep this whole thing going. It's not they're not going to cut social programs whatsoever, right?
It's like, where do you fall on it, right? Socialist, capitalist.
Yeah. I mean, I think to end that off, right? Like, I think I understand that there's like some sort of dynamic. People with less money, they need some sort of help, right?
For sure.
But then why wouldn't you keep it just at minimum wage, $70,000 a year, right? And when half of that money, people that you were saying 3.5 million applied, 1.7 got approved, right? Collected it. Like, look at how much money is getting wasted in this program, getting tied up in it, just to what? Kind of buy votes?
And we're never going to know where that goes.
Nobody's going to know where any of that goes.
It's going to end up somewhere.
Right? Because the other side of it is any household who's probably making $120,000 a year, with how expensive everything's getting, what are you supposed to do? They could
probably actually use something like that.
Right? But yeah. Let's move on to Trump's tariffs.
Oh, they're back.
Right? So
where are they ever gone?
So first, a U.S. court ruled to block Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, right? And then I think it was all supposed to block some of the tariffs on Canada and Mexico and China, right? Not the steel and aluminum ones, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously this was going to get appealed, right? So literally 24 hours later, this thing gets appealed and that temporarily gets lifted, right? So the tariffs are back on, right? Then Trump recently said that there's some new tariffs, and these are on steel and aluminum. And here's a clip.
We are going to be imposing
a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%. We are going to be imposing
around these tariffs.
No. Nobody's getting around these.
Yeah.
So you think a little part of me was like, did this guy, because of what happened with the courts, it kind of pissed him off enough where he was like, oh, you guys are going to try to stop me?
Yeah.
Here's more.
For sure.
Right?
That's exactly what happened.
That was a little part of it.
You don't, like, this, he's showed time and time again, if you try to mess with him, like, he's going to just increase tariffs or do something of that nature, right?
I mean, we have no idea when these are going to go into effect, if they're going to get paused, if they're going to get lifted, what's really going on. They're always all over the place with this guy, right?
Even this, when they got the court that came out, International Trade Court in New York. It's out of New York, first of all.
Yeah.
Secondly, that's where his whole trial was, right? It was New York?
Yeah.
And outside of that, people jumped on it. Even Carney was like, I'm totally backing this and that. That shit was overruled.
Yeah, these guys were popping champagne bottles probably, man.
Yeah.
It's like, when they heard that,
they're like, it's done.
Yeah. But on the other side, we also haven't heard Canada's plan, right? Carney keeps claiming that there's all these plans, but whenever something like this happens, why isn't then Carney addressing it right away?
Exactly.
He's like, I'm just going to wait. And then whenever I feel like it, then I'm going to address it. Like, you don't hear him come out right away and be like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
Because he thinks he's playing some sort of smart game with Trump. I don't know what his game plan is, right? I don't think anyone in Canada knows.
Yeah.
Right? Carney just kind of doesn't ever say anything. Right? Like right away. But what he was saying is that he's looking forward to joining a European military buildup by Canada Day. And here's a clip.
Is it a hedge or a replacement? Well, it's both. Diversification depends. Look, and I say it's both. I'm not trying to avoid the question or be clever. The point is, we need to do much more to secure our borders, to secure our Arctic, to secure Canada. So we're going to need to spend more. We recognize that. Now we're going to do it in a way that is in the best interests of Canada, with partners on which we can rely, get best value for money, but also make more of that investment here in Canada, so we're growing jobs and livelihoods in our own country. You know this. Some may not have followed as closely. We're spending over 75 cents on every dollar of capital spend for defense goes to the United States.
Right.
That's not smart. What's better if we spend more at home?
Better if we spend it in Europe.
Diversified partnerships. Look, part of what's been happening in the last few months since I became Prime Minister is a number of conversations of increasing specificity with our major European partners so that we become defense partners with them, that we become part of a very big build out of their defense industrial base, which will have big benefits for jobs here in Canada. We're making great progress on that. And by Canada Day, we'd like to see something concrete there.
Is it a hedge? So this guy wants to start spending defense with Europe?
Yeah, so Britain, they recently came out and they said that they're planning at least 6 new weapons factories.
Yeah.
Right? And they also mentioned that they're planning to procure 7,000 long-range missiles. There are a couple $2 billion that they're investing, right? And we all saw what he was doing there when he flew down, even before the elections, when he was basically the temporary prime minister right after Trudeau resigned.
Where's the first place he went?
Right there, right?
Yeah.
He went to go talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Right? And part of you has to think, like, what happened? Right?
Yeah.
Like, if he has all these ties to the UK, right, and he's constantly, like King Charles, when he came over, you saw that whole exchange, how excited and how happy everybody was. It seems like he's right there. For those things, he's there right away.
Yeah.
Right? So a part of it is like, okay, fine, he has strong ties with the UK, but do you think that, okay, we're going to go, he's saying we're bringing jobs to Canada. It's kind of like you're taking jobs to Europe, right? That's, you're strengthening there. So what are you trying to do? Build a stronger military industrial complex in Europe that's stronger than the one in the United States? Is that what's going on? Like, it's like you're kind of trading one form for the other, right?
But is that even wise though?
I don't know. If you're going to get inferior equipment, right, for cheaper prices.
Doesn't defense spending with the United States just makes sense? Because when something actually happens, who's going to come to your defense? It's going to be the United States. First, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about conventional warfare, then yeah, you need the U.S., right? Yeah. There's not really... When you're talking about, like, nukes, and, like, you know, and then obviously Europe, right, can defend itself or can launch, right? But that's not the situation here, right? Like, you're talking about conventional warfare, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're probably investing in, some sort of F-35s or some sort of naval ships or something, right? That's what they're considering.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, like, okay, yeah, sure, right? You should do it a little bit. But when it's Carney specifically, I feel like it's a little bit alarming knowing his relationship, right?
Yeah, right? I don't love how it's his first instinct, always Europe, Europe, Europe. I'm hearing way too much
Way
Europe.
too much, right? And people aren't concerned with that. And all of a sudden, why? Because they have a left-wing government, you're a left-wing guy, right? And so now you're aligned there. That's not going to be the case for always in Canada, right? There's going to be left and right-wing presidents in the U.S. There's going to be left and right-wing prime ministers in Canada, right? So if you're aligning with, sure, do a little bit with Europe, but he's saying we want to be a part of this massive build. It seems like they've already had conversations about that thing way before.
That's
right?
What's alarming. He was their banker for how long, right? Their central banker. So they probably did. And it makes sense. If you're talking about diversifying trade, of course, go other places. But the amount of times this guy just hones in on Europe. Everything's on Europe. Defense spending, Europe. First place he runs off Europe. Who's at his inauguration or when he got sworn in, right?
I mean,
it's pretty telling.
But when he ran off to Europe, right? First people he met was Starmer and Macron, right? Like, did you guys see Macron get slapped by his wife a couple weeks ago?
His wife.
Said, damn, right? Like, he's getting off the plane. Like, I would think that there's some sort of like conversation, like, hey, listen, I'm the president of a country, right? Like, when I'm getting off the plane, maybe don't slap me,
right?
Like, maybe then.
And they must have heard the door open. Like, she would have known that.
He really, at that moment, said something to her. Like, straighten up.
I mean, in the clip, when you see his reaction, he's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's like dumbfounded.
It's like they didn't know the door was open or something.
I think she did on purpose.
No, I think the pilot who opened the door probably fired. That's the first person, right?
Like, I didn't tell you to open that.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, even as a couple, right? Like, people, like regular marriage couples, right? You get into arguments. Things aren't always just peachy, right? Like, things happen. People talk, right? And you get into arguments, right?
Yeah.
And even in those scenarios, if you're going to be out in public, you know how to hide that.
Yeah.
Right? And be like, we'll talk about this later.
Behind
if it's something
doors.
that you haven't, like, you know, dealt
with. He's like,
with.
open the door.
yeah. And he's a president of a country. You would think that he's like, not now, right?
Yeah.
Like, not now.
And that's weird,
No,
too.
he had to play it off, though. He couldn't say not now.
But
he was
shocked.
But I would think, like, if you're getting off of a plane to address any sort of country or do anything, right? The way that you carry yourself should be like, okay.
Maybe she runs the show.
Probably, it seemed like it.
Who knows? But yeah, airplanes. Let's move on to Turkish Airlines.
Yeah.
So what's this thing about them fining people for standing?
Yeah, basically, so Turkish Airlines is going to be fining people who stand up before the plane stops. So, like, you know those people that the plane hits a runway and all of a sudden belts off, and the sign's not up yet, and they're already reaching, grabbing their, like, suitcase, just ready to run out of the plane, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to be fining them around 70 USD. That's how much the fine's going to be. I don't know. I agree with it wholeheartedly. I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that these airlines are these days with these baggage claims where they barely fit in there, you'll see all these videos of dudes kind of smash it into that little thing, right? And then pull it out. Some people have like bags that you can eject the wheels so they fit in there, then put them back on, all this weird stuff. And then I even saw a guy the other day who was like packaging and then he's like vacuum sealing the thing so it, you know, constricts.
Oh, I've seen those too. Yeah.
Like these are, it seems like it's a battle between airlines and consumers on a way that like we want you to take less or we're going to charge you. And like, oh yeah, okay, we can fit more into a smaller container. Like that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
They're trying to squeeze every single dollar possible, right? So from that point of view, I feel like it's like, okay, airlines are trying to make money here.
Yeah.
Right? Because people are going to stand and some people are going to get these little tickets or fines. Right?
I mean, they'll stop, right? I feel like if one person does it, it just triggers this chain reaction. Oh, he got
Because you don't want someone to get ahead of you.
Yeah. Everyone just starts tripping out. Oh, those 3 are up. Oh, I'm going to get up too.
Yeah.
Let me grab it.
And I mean, like, if the airplane symbol is still on, I mean, not the airplane, the seatbelt sign is still on, like, listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so here's my thing on it, right? Like if one person does get up, like the way that I am, if they're ahead of me, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Right? But like if a person behind me gets up and you can tell they're the kind of person who's like, I'm going to get in front of everybody. Then to me, I'm like, no, you're not.
You kind of have to stand your ground.
Yeah, then I get out. Now it's a game, right?
Yeah.
Like now you're not passing me, right? Like now I'm gonna grab my bags and you're not passing me. But like the people in front of me, I'm not trying to butt in line, right? I'm gonna stop and be like,
But
all right,
they
you guys.
might think that as well, and then they're gonna start
Exactly.
getting
That's why you find them and no one gets up.
Yo, for me, it's like the wheels touch the floor. I hate traveling.
Yeah.
I hate sitting in that seat. The wheels touch ground, I'm up. I just want to get the
So you're one of those people?
as
Like-
fast as possible. Even if it's 10 seconds faster
Yeah.
by me standing in the aisle, I'm down. But if I think about it, like say emergency wise, like
Yeah.
say someone needs to get out quickly,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense. I didn't think of it like that.
For sure.
Like a safety, like a fire exit or whatever.
Yeah, it definitely could be a safety issue, but it's also like everyone hates traveling. I don't think
Yeah.
unless you're traveling on your PJ
Or
private
you have
jet,
like a
then
first class seat.
even first class, you have to enter the normal plane, the normal procedures.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I don't think there's anybody on this planet that goes, I can't wait to get on this plane. I love flying. Like it's a horrible experience. It's gotten worse and worse. The seats are smaller and smaller. They're going to be standing soon.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's everyone's just going to be standing like holding on to these things.
It's gonna be like buses, right?
Yeah.
They're standing,
It's like you
how are
can't
gonna
raise your
find
hand.
them? Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like the whole experience is so bad now, right?
Mhm.
And it's getting worse. And I think, like in my mind, the way it should be set up is the people in front of you, they get up and then you slowly go down, right? It's just like, but if people start standing up in the back, in the front, everywhere, then this chain reaction starts.
Well, there is also this thing with like, what if you were with a newborn, or you shouldn't be flying with a newborn, but what if you have like a 5, 6, 7, 8 month old baby, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to get up, you need to stretch your legs, you know, you need to grab something to change a diaper, you're trying to make that whole transition smooth for your kids or
Exception,
whatever,
that's
right?
fine.
Cool, right? So then certain people start getting up.
Yeah.
As long as there's some sort of etiquette and like
Yeah.
people are considerate, right? And like
Yeah.
you'll stop for people ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because I've
Yeah.
been on flights where,
Yeah.
like I was saying, where people, you can tell this person's trying to get ahead of
Yeah,
everybody.
they're just
for
here to be
absolutely no
first.
reason.
Just to be first.
Yeah. And even those guys, even when they do, then they're the slowest.
Oh,
At
yeah.
the
They
baggage
just wanna get
claim,
out.
they're in no rush. They just want to get out of the plane before you.
Yeah.
Right?
So I
Like,
was-
that's it.
I was so annoyed by this whole thing. I thought of some other things
Mm.
that I hate about traveling, right? Other things I think people should be fined for, right? One of them, people who are shocked when they show up at the x-ray line, right? Like, oh my God, I got to take my shoes off.
Yeah.
My hat. Yeah. Every time.
Why do they ask? Do I have to take my shoes off? You always have to take your
Just
shoes off.
friggin' do
No,
it.
always.
If you do it,
I've never not had to take my shoes off. Recently, within the last 10 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, who gives a
Not
shit?
within the last 5 years.
Who
but
gives
yeah.
a shit? If you had to or not, just take them off, be ready. Shoes in hand, this, everything off, right? And just speed up the process. Anyone that goes, oh my belt too? What about my ring? Like, what about my chain? Like, take it all off, throw it in the thing.
You can
If
tell
not,
who he is when he's traveling.
if not, you get
The
fined.
Poor dad.
Right?
Yeah.
Another one that really annoyed me was the armrests. Like the middle guy holding the armrests. That one's annoying too. A little bit of common sense would help.
Well, I think where you're heading over there is like if now that I'm looking at it, how they stuff these fucking the carry-ons into
Yeah.
those things. I think eventually you're gonna have like an area that you have to sit in,
Yeah.
and they shove you in there. Right? Like,
Probably.
either standing
fit?
rooms, like you can just stand in this. This is your area. If you're gonna exceed this area, it's $45.
Yeah.
Right, and they just do this.
Yeah.
Who knows where this thing is going?
People.
just to what you were saying,
Yeah.
like the rest,
Yeah.
people that put their chairs back.
Yeah.
I don't know why people do
And
that.
kicking.
You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Ah,
It shouldn't be an option.
Because someone does it in front of me, but then I feel bad if I do it.
Yeah.
Then I'm just stuck there.
There's also such little space. There shouldn't be an option.
The same thing happens. Chain reaction. Everyone reclines.
Yeah.
If you recline, then the person beyond you gets annoyed. They recline.
I don't know that I've ever reclined.
Really?
I don't really recline.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly a short guy.
Yeah.
Right? But like I never fully recline like ever. But I can understand if somebody if you have that option though, you have every right to do so.
Yeah, no, I think they should get rid of the option.
You think they should just fully
It's too tight.
Yeah. What if somebody has a back injury or something?
Yeah.
What if somebody's like 6'7", 6'8"? Right.
What does that matter if you recline or not?
When I sit there, like my knees hit the front seat.
So does reclining help?
It makes me feel better. But like, I don't always recline.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Another one that really annoys me, I gotta say it. People that get up to board before your zone, just sit there.
You're such a daddy.
Right? He's the guy, like, if you're in the airport and you look at him, he's just like fuming. You okay? He's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
It's just like,
okay.
Even if they don't board at their gate, they'll just stand there.
Exactly. If everyone follows the rules, it's smoother and it's faster.
That happens nowhere.
Everywhere though.
That's why you got to find them for all these things. I think even the baggage claim.
Oh my god!
What about the
people that get obsessed with just like waiting right there?
They're blocking everyone's view.
Just or just like ready to jump on that.
You don't know
what
when
are
your
you
bag's
supposed
coming.
to do? Are you just gonna stand in the back and just be like, guys,
La-di-da.
my bag's just gonna make the round 6 times, and I hope it's still
My
there.
driver's here, but I
Not
don't
6
care.
times, but like you're gonna see it. Okay, if you see your bag, you don't gotta run and elbow everybody in the face and go grab it. It's gonna come back around. Just wait over there on the side. Grab your bag.
I don't have that type of patience.
Yeah,
I'm gonna elbow a kid. I'm gonna elbow anybody.
All right, maybe not that one, but the boarding. A lot of the ones.
Boarding, I agree.
The boarding one is like, okay, especially why are you in such a rush to go and sit on the plane?
Yeah,
Like,
I board last.
especially a long
I
flight.
like to board last.
Yeah.
Even if they call my gate, I sit there.
You're getting fined. She's catching every fine.
Hard. Why would I put my kid through that? When I can let my kid run around a little bit more.
Yeah.
No, I'm a good parent.
But yeah, should we move on?
Yeah, sure.
So sleep divorce is a thing. So apparently sleeping in separate bedrooms is better, at least according to this opinion piece.
Yeah.
So this lady basically goes on about how sleeping in the same bed isn't that important. And then she goes on to say, I suspect a lot of people, predominantly women, would like to institute a full sleep divorce, but there is more than a lack of yeah, right. There's more than a lack of space that prevents it. Marriage is made up of social conventions at least as much as it is religious and or moral buildings. Marriages, by which I really mean long-term relationships, interesting, need space, literal as well as metaphorical. You cannot live without someone breathing down your neck in any sense. If we could break away from the romantic myth that we're less hidebound by convention, we would be free to adapt and rejig our setups in a way that better suits us as individuals and as pairs. Prioritizing your needs over social expectations is the most likely route to enduring happiness. Separate bedrooms is not the first step on the road to dissolution. It's the route to joint survival.
Okay. I don't even like the phrase of sleep divorce. Right? That's a weird. That's a weird term to call it. First of all.
And how she's like, marriages, like, I get it, long-term relationships, right? But I feel like you're minimizing or marginalizing a marriage somewhat by saying it's just a long-term relationship.
Like your roommates or something.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it could be like sleeping in separate rooms. Sleep divorce? What the hell is that all about? Right?
Yeah. I don't love the wording of it.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense in certain scenarios. Some scenarios, it could make sense.
I mean, it depends on who you're talking to, right? Like, I think there is this aspect of it, like, I enjoy my sleep, and you're talking about, like, what she's going on about there is your individual needs, and, like, you get better quality sleep, right? And that's your whole argument, that if you're sleeping in your own bed, right?
Yeah.
But then there can be an argument made for a lot of things, like you like driving your car alone. You take your own car, I'm gonna take my own car.
Exactly.
Right? Like anything, right? Like you like to enjoy certain things alone.
Yeah.
Right? which then you can kind of make the argument why be in a relationship, right? It's more than just like sleeping in the same bed together, right? She's saying that it's marriage expectations.
Exactly.
It's more than just expectations, right? But I feel like to me, it's more about you're like, if you have the same routines, right, and you get up together, you go to sleep together, right, it kind of reinforces some sort of connection, right, that you have in a marriage, right, rather than just doing things so separately, right, depending on how you are as a couple and how you function, right. But there's a lot of things there.
Yeah, even just like being around the person, right? Like you want to be around the person, right? I don't know. I guess I'm just traditional. It wouldn't be for me. I wouldn't want to do it. But I'm also really quick to fall asleep, so I wouldn't even know.
If I left.
How am I supposed to know? I would have no idea.
The other side of it is probably that, right? Like I'm not like once I get to bed, I'm not like this. Like it's kind of my choice when I knock out. Right?
Like I don't even know if I'm talking in my sleep. I'm snoring. I have no idea.
But I feel like what another thing that wouldn't get talked about enough there is it does somewhat encourage communication a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And like maybe some sort of conflict resolution, right? Like everyone has busy days. Sometimes you don't get to talk to each other, right? And then you're winding down, you're on your phone or whatever. You're like, hey, look, I saw this or whatever.
Like a big chunk of your day is spent by yourself.
Right.
Or it's at work.
But
I'm thinking like maybe a specific scenario where you have actual opposite work schedules. Then like or a nurse that works night, for example. Then it would just make sense for the both of you to maybe.
Yeah, it's a lot more acceptable in that scenario.
Or do you just sleep in the same room but at different times?
That's probably what ends up happening.
Or if you don't want to disturb the one, right? Getting up or going to sleep.
But those are like specific situations, right? Like this is more like
lifestyle.
Yeah. This is more like I prefer my sleep more than some sort of, because I think they're just saying it upholds like some sort of marriage, like conventional marriage, like that you're supposed to do that or whatever.
Yeah.
To me, it's a little bit deeper than that, right? Because like imagine if you do get in a fight. Right. And like now, if you're not sleeping in the same room, that fight is going to linger.
Yeah. It's not resolved. Right?
Yeah. It's not resolved. Right.
Yeah.
And like they always say, don't go to bed angry. I think that's kind of dumb because sometimes you're so tired, even if you're just really, you're just going to knock out.
Tired of fighting,
right? You can argue in the morning. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But like, I do think it does show that like, at least you have some form of commitment.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're not just like sleeping apart.
Yeah.
Right.
I like, yeah, I'm more traditional in that sense too, man. Like I don't like the name of it, and I feel like it might, like, I'm discovering all these things I like to do on my own, right? And I don't really like doing anything with you. Why the hell did you get married then?
He's like, I'm discovering.
It could though, man.
I don't know that it even will lead to divorce, so I don't like that they're saying that.
So
but
okay,
I agree. Like I would want to sleep beside the person I'm married to. Right? It's enjoyable, even if you're both not awake.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's going to lead to. I
think in this like modern age that we live in, people like to cater their entire life around what I individually enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's always like what's most comfortable for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be annoyed whatsoever. Just whatever's like, it's just me all the time. Right. Those kind of people usually aren't in marriages.
Yeah.
Right. Like in a marriage, there's a lot of sacrifice back and forth between both people.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're going to do that, you realize the things that you do for one another. You think you want to do all of these things that you do for each other. You just do them. Right.
It's a give and take.
And then there's this massive part of life, right, where I think people always spend time thinking that, oh, when I go on vacations, we're going to spend time together. When I don't know, whatever, you have something planned with the kids or just the husband and wife go somewhere, wine nights, movie nights, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they think that's the time that you're spending together. Sure. Yeah. And that's quality time. Sure. Right. But 70-80% of your life is spent doing regular mundane tasks. And if in those tasks you can't be happy and you can't have this routine together, you can't have this life together, then I mean, why? I don't know. Part of it, like, why be married then?
Yeah. Like if you need a break, go chill with your friends or something.
Right. But I guess we would be labeled as traditional here. But let's move on to France is banning smoking outdoors.
Okay.
In a move that protects its youngest citizens, France has announced it will enact a nationwide ban on smoking in all outdoor places that can be frequented by children.
Okay.
Meaning your dreams of lounging in a French park with a cigarette are about to go up in smoke.
Who dreams about that?
Right? Where there are children, tobacco must disappear. French Minister of Health and Family, Catherine Vautrin, told some sort of something France on Thursday, adding that the freedom of smoke ends where children right to breathe fresh air begins.
Okay. Puff, puff, passe. That's true. Yeah.
You're just freezing there. I think it sets a positive example, especially for younger kids, right? Like especially because also smoking, I guess in France, I'm assuming here is because last time, how long has it been since we went to France? It's like 4, 5, 6 years ago, right? Right. So I remember the last time it wasn't that prevalent smoking, but I know in Europe they smoke a little bit more than they do in North America, right? So maybe it's a bigger deal. Over here, it almost feels like it's not really cool to smoke cigarettes anymore.
They made a rule here, like you can't really just smoke anywhere anymore. There's like designated areas.
Really? Yeah.
Like all workplaces too. Like you can't just smoke anywhere.
Yeah, it's like a certain distance from buildings and restaurants and stuff like that.
Designated areas.
Yeah,
they made it.
But they don't have any rule with beaches and parks. You can smoke openly in parks and beaches and stuff.
Beaches?
Yeah, you won't see people. People can smoke in beaches here. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. You could fact check me, but. From what I know, in Canada, the only restrictions are like when it comes to buildings.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you have to be like 150 meters or not 150 meters, but like a certain amount of distance from the building to smoke, right? I don't think it has anything to do with outdoors.
I feel like in general, people just don't smoke here anymore. Like the way that I used to see people smoking. Even in the States, you'll see a lot more people smoking.
So many municipalities prohibit smoking in parks, playgrounds, sports, fields, beaches, and certain distance from building entrances. In Ontario.
Yeah, but that's
in Canada, sorry.
Yeah, but that's like a local thing, right? On a federal level, there's no ban, right? Like that's like locally, like if you go to your local park, you'll see a sign like no smoking or whatever. Right? That's what that is, right? It's not like federally you can't go to beaches and parks and not smoke. Right. So that some of them might have that and some of them won't. Right. This, I think it seems like it's a federal ban. Right. So if it's a federal ban, that would legit mean like you can't go anywhere and just smoke.
Well, they're saying it's predominantly in like places where kids would be.
Like playground.
Which makes sense.
I have no problem with that. That's fine.
Right? Because kids are more vulnerable to toxins anyways. Right. And secondhand smoke, right? Like it damages your lungs, right? There's long-term effects of it. It's proven, right? And it reduces normalization of smoking. Right? They don't think it's that normal, so they don't want to do it, right? And also, it is a little bit annoying having a kid whenever you're in a place where somebody's smoking, right? And sometimes people are aware of it and they'll be like, oh, sorry, right? And they'll step out of the way, right? And sometimes people go, why would you bring your kids here? As if like they own the space.
You see that video of A$AP Rocky smoking and holding like
beside his
Rihanna.
baby, right? That was
beside Rihanna.
He was holding Rihanna and she's pregnant.
And he's just smoking in her face.
Like she was pregnant, right? And he was like, that's crazy, man.
I mean, people do weird things, right?
She looked like she was okay.
And she didn't mind, so like, I don't know.
And people were in the comments were saying it's marijuana cigarette.
That doesn't matter. You're not supposed to be.
That's the other thing. I don't know if this is specific to just cigarettes.
I think
the ban?
I think it's a tobacco.
Tobacco only?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it should probably be everything. Anything you can smoke. Or crack's okay.
Crack on beaches? Bro, what kind of beaches do you go to? He didn't even say marijuana. He's just like crack.
I go to fun ones.
Oh my God. Okay. I think let's move on to sports.
So, sports. NHL, NBA finals. They're set. And they're going to kick off Wednesday. NHL starts on Wednesday and NBA is on Thursday. The Pacers just smacked New York in Game 6.
I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess. Pascal got, former Raptor gets Eastern
that was crazy.
Finals MVP.
He got the Eastern Conference, even in Game 6. Like Halliburton had a good game, but Siakam has been a big part of that team.
Siakam was a big part of even the Raptors championship team, right? He
for sure.
played an integral role there, right?
I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league.
Yeah, he's always kind of been that way, right? Obviously, as the Raptors, before we got Kawhi, like he was kind of our guy.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But, you know, during the tail end of that DeRozan career, you could see where Pascal was headed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, you got Indiana, that's the number one offense so far in the playoffs. And then you got OKC, that's number one defense so far in the playoffs. Hopefully it's good. Based on anything we ever say, our predictions, everything are horrible.
They're always wrong, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like on both sides in the NBA, you have Shea, right, who's a Canadian, right? So if you're Canadian, you're looking at that, and you're like, maybe somebody from Canada is going to win the MVP, the Finals MVP, and a championship in the same year. That's pretty crazy,
That'd be wild, yeah.
And then on the other side, you have Florida, who has had Leafs number for a while now, right? And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're about to pass the most games played in a 3-year span because they've been to the playoffs and went so deep into the playoffs in the last 3 years. Yeah.
Oh.
And then on top of it all, now they're running into Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, another Canadian team. I don't know. With all the back and forth and the shit talking, right? I feel like I'm more rooting for a Canadian team to win, right?
Yeah.
So if the Oilers won and, you know, Shea got a ring, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, that would be cool. It's a rematch too. I saw this graphic. It was like before Connor Gretzky, he lost to the same team and then he won the ring the following year. And then Sidney Crosby did the same thing. So there's like, can Connor do it? Because he just lost to Florida. Then he beats him again. So potentially that might happen. The only thing I wouldn't want him to win is because then Leafs have no shot at signing him, probably have no shot anyway. But
yeah, I mean, remember when people thought that the Leafs were going to get Stamkos? And then he's like, I don't want to go to Toronto.
Nobody wants to come to Toronto.
Yeah, and I hate this BS that they're putting on Toronto fans now.
Right?
And it's like it's the fans' fault. Like, is it the fans' fault that the teams... No, it's this whole narrative that they're saying that you guys should respect your team, like right after Florida lost. And
like when they start burning jerseys.
Yeah. Like I think
Florida players were saying it.
Yeah.
They're like it's their fans' fault.
Yeah. I think some of it you shouldn't be saying, but some of it...
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I don't think it's warranted, man. Fans, like this tortured fan base that just keeps losing and losing in horrible ways.
Yeah.
They're pissed off. I don't see anything wrong with it. And if the fans are impacting what you do on the floor, then you suck at your job.
Well, yeah, because I think with the fans, there's also like they're passionate fans, and year after year they show up, right? And even if they get angry, they're still supporting you the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
And it's a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like
you get mad,
somebody wins, somebody loses, somebody's sad, somebody's happy. That's how competition works. That's how sports works, right? And a passionate fan base like the Leafs, who's supposed to be the spot for hockey and the mecca of hockey, right? It's kind of like what happens with New York, right? In the Garden,
for sure.
Right? Like they keep losing.
We're saying they're the Leafs. We got that right.
Yeah, that's
they are.
We
One prediction.
we jinxed them.
We jinxed the shit out of them.
They did not make the finals.
Yeah,
sorry about
Schultz
that.
was out there watching them,
right? Damn. Yeah, you said you went to Indiana for Game 7, right? Damn.
He thought they were actually gonna win.
Damn.
Yeah.
But also in the NHL, I don't know if you heard about the whole handshake line debate.
They're saying they should
have a clip of Paul Maurice. He was talking about it.
It's a personal belief, and I really appreciate what he did because I understand the risk. That there's a bit of a risk. So the story goes like this: I don't believe that the coaches should shake players' hands at the end. I don't. There's this long list of people in suits and tracksuits. I mean, we had like 400 people on the ice. They're all really important to our group, but not one of them was in the game.
So
there's something for me visually with the camera on of just the men who played, who blocked shots, who fought for each other. It's the end of one season. It's excitement for the other. Yeah. The last thing that a player on the Carolina Hurricanes deserves is 50 more guys in suits they have. They have no idea who they are. And that's not a negative. There should be something really kind of beautiful about just the camera on those men who played shaking hands. And we should respect that. So we talked to Craig Berube on the ice in Toronto, and I figured if I could sell it in Toronto, and he understood it because he's played, and Roddy's played, so they both kind of get it. I don't know where it changed. When I first got in the league, you would never go shake the players. Now, some coach wanted to get on camera. Is the only thing I can figure out, right? And it was I don't know, maybe you want to shake Wayne Gretzky's hand or something. I don't know when it changed, but I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. It's not like the coach wasn't also in the battle with the players. Like
Sure, but he's saying so I didn't when I read the headline of this thing, I thought he was saying that players shouldn't be shaking each other's hands, right? When I saw that, I was like, okay, no, I disagree with that, right? Like, because sportsmanship, right? You're humble in defeat, right? Or humble in victory, right? And then I feel like you gotta a little bit, I guess the head coach, they kind of meet each other at the side there, then they kind of just do their own thing. Yeah, I think what he's saying, all the assistant coaches and everybody lines up here and they're all shaking each other's hands. Like it's a little
in the line, he's right. Saying. Yeah.
So that part of it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Outside of that, in the past, or this guy. First, he got Berube to agree with it, and then Brindamore in the second matchup, he agreed to it too. Basically, they still shook hands, but they were just off to the side. Like the coaches still did their thing, and the players were doing their thing. I don't know. I guess it's okay. Some people are going, just get rid of handshake lines. Totally.
I don't think it's a part of hockey, man, because hockey is different, right? It's a physical game, right? And a lot goes into it, right? It's a passionate game. You see how the fans get really passionate, right? In basketball and stuff, you see the last quarter, the last 5 minutes, right? People are kind of into it. Yeah. Hockey, every goal, you're kind of dying on it. Plus, there's fights and stuff, right? It's a little bit of conflict.
But even in basketball, remember IT and everything?
Yeah.
Remember the backlash? Even now, if somebody leaves the court, the media talks about it.
Yeah, so I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that you mention it, right? After the game ends, they all kind of there's a scrum. There's not a lineup of shaking hands, but you'll see star players go to each other, talk to each other. In basketball, they'll even cover their mouth. And they'll talk to each other. The superstars will, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's sportsmanship, right? Yeah. You lose or win, right? It's
I think that's all it is. People are going wild too. Just I don't think they should get rid of it. Sportsmanship. It's hey, the better man won. It's all good. Yeah.
But is he exaggerating when he said 50 men in suits? How many men in suits do the
honestly
you have to shake hands with?
Not 50. Maybe it might it's probably
not 50.
Not 50. Maybe 10 to 15.
Yeah.
There's 50. There's a lot of people involved. There's in hockey, there's the head coach, and then there's 3 coaches under him. Then there's the equipment manager. There's
they shake hands with the equipment manager.
Yeah, they all come out onto the thing, and they're all wearing suits. I don't know all their titles, but there's there's a bunch of them.
But then
maybe
there's
10.
Probably a side to it that he's saying that maybe that's their 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah, that one guy wanted to shake Gretzky's hand. He's like, let's do it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. Did you guys see Diggs? What he was up to?
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Do we have the clip?
Yeah.
Yeah, the audio was some song.
Oh, okay. So
but it's not much. It's basically this. Yeah.
So he pulls out some bag.
They're asking him for it, apparently, right? Yeah. And then he pulls it out. So now the Patriots, there's talk of them letting him go. They're not ruling it out. And the league hasn't commented on it yet, but they might fine him or something. Apparently, it was a white substance in that bag.
Wasn't it pink?
Sorry?
Pink.
The bag was pink.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what was actually in there, right? And I feel a part of me, I know we've done it in the past, everyone does it, but you're judging players' personal lives and shit, right? What they do there, that's their business. But a little bit, you're on camera.
Common sense.
Right? And
you just... this whole video is wild.
I didn't see
all the girls dancing. It goes
yeah, isn't he dating Cardi B now?
Yeah, she's on there too.
Oh, she's on there.
Too. Oh, I did not know. She's not in that video, but she's with those girls in a separate part of the
she co-signed it. Okay.
That's how out of touch I am. I didn't even know they're dating.
Yeah.
I just found
they went to the Knicks game.
That's the only reason I know. They're courtside at the Knicks game.
Okay, got you.
But for me, I don't know. It's not much of a story. He's stupid. Like, why are you doing it out in the open?
Stephen A says it all the time, right? You're being Stay off the weed, right?
These guys progress to other things way bigger than the weed.
I mean, in today's day and age, like I feel like everything's almost acceptable. Right? Yeah, that's the kind of way people just roll, right? Yeah. But like, if you're in a certain environment, right, like, and the place that you work for, the NFL, right, if certain things they don't like, maybe don't mess around.
Maybe you don't bring it. Yeah, like how about that? Like someone could have it around you, but just don't bring it.
That's the other part. If you are gonna do it, let's just say for argument's sake, and that's who you are. Yeah, don't you have friends who handle this shit for you?
Yeah.
Right, you're gonna be the guy.
It's like he wanted to do it, like on camera.
Maybe he is. This is how quickly like careers decline. Because this was one guy who thought he was one of the best wide receivers in the league, and you don't see a LeBron, a Steph, anybody getting caught with any of this stuff, right?
Because they probably don't even do it.
That's for one,
right?
And secondly, they're not dumb enough to do it that way, right? So I don't know.
You're in the public eye, right? Like you got to a little bit watch what you do and watch what you say a little bit, right?
I think it'll be reprimanded in some
ways. We'll see.
And then, some NBA trade rumors are already starting to circle. Giannis to Toronto?
Oh, they're saying that, because I'm a side connection.
Yeah, that would be nice.
People say like, oh, it's just another Scotty Barnes, an older. Like, I'm just like, it's still Giannis, man. You bring some hope.
Giannis is a top 5 talent in the league,
right? And if they can somehow keep what we already have and get Giannis there,
I'm not mad at that one,
right? Like you see what happens with the East, right? Like I'm not saying Indiana's not a strong team. I'm not saying New York isn't a strong team or Cleveland's not, right? Boston, I don't know what's going on with Jason Tatum, right? Like
he's out the way that
if he's out. The door is wide open. Yeah. You get a Giannis in Toronto. Can we do a Kawhi 2.0? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
Yeah. Is Giannis a free agent?
No, I don't think so.
So why are there rumors that he would come?
Because he's they're not winning. Their team's doing bad. Yeah. He's kind of ruining his prime. He's kind of said it vaguely in interviews. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what the future leads. Yeah. It's the same guy who used to say, I'm staying here for life. I'm doing this forever.
Yeah. Has he ever won a ring?
Yeah. He won one.
Yeah, he's finals MVP. Yeah. Not too long ago.
And then Katie said he's waiting on him to decide first. There's also that Katie is a free agent. He's signed somewhere. Yeah. And then there's also Dallas, their whole development.
Yeah. I heard rumors of them. They're trying to sign Drew Holiday.
Yeah, they need a point guard to replace Kyrie. He's going to be injured for like probably half the season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. A lot of rumblings going on there. The NBA offseason could be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, where would KD go? You know, I would still
he's old, no?
He is old, and the whole Phoenix thing didn't work out. The whole Brooklyn thing didn't work out.
Any of it. If he just stayed in Golden State,
would you? I would want to see him back in Golden State, if I'm being honest. But like at this point, there is no Splash Brothers, right? So like, what are you gonna have there?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know what the right place to go is. Yeah. I feel like all of these guys, clearly there's a changing of the guard.
Yeah.
All these guys got to go team up somewhere if they want to compete. Otherwise, just call it a day, man. Just retire.
I think. When do you think LeBron calls his farewell tour?
I can't even gauge it anymore. I thought it would have been this.
I think he's been trying to do it like whenever he wins his next ring, he calls it quits.
But he just doesn't win.
It's just not even.
But he's not gonna. LeBron would never do that. He's gonna do the whole tour. He's gonna announce it.
Unless he won a ring, then he would do it, right?
But if he comes to the realization that he will never, then
because I don't know how that Luka, like right now, Luka LeBron, right? Like I thought it would play out a different way. Obviously,
Lakers and Celtics didn't happen.
So wrong, right? None of these teams even made the conference finals. Right?
So maybe they just needed this time to play together, get warmed up, and they'll do really well next season.
I don't know. He's old, man.
Yeah, man.
That's wishful thinking.
Yeah. I mean, Shea and Ant-Man, I think they got this thing on lock in the West, right? If they add some pieces and they grow in a certain way, I think they're going to be,
we'll see
what happens. But that's it for sports. Let's move on to off topic.
So we're going to start with Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Taylor. So our girl got her music catalog back. So it's basically the journey of Taylor Swift reclaiming her ownership of her music. So if you didn't know, when she first signed to her record label in 2005, there was a stipulation in a contract that the first 6 albums that she recorded with that music label, they would own the master recordings. And then in 2019, Scooter Braun, Justin Bieber's old manager, he acquired Big Machine Records, her old record label, and with it, he got all of her masters for her first 6 albums. And she tried to buy them, but he wouldn't sell them to her. So then Taylor Swift announced that she was going to re-record her first 6 albums. So since 2021, she's been doing that. And she's been releasing them as Taylor's version of her albums, along with like vault tracks. So like never before released songs from that album. And like fans have been really supportive, and all of her re-records have been doing really well.
Yeah.
But just on May 30th, Taylor Swift announced that she successfully purchased the masters of her first 6 albums from Shamrock for approximately $350 million. So that number is just like what people are saying. You don't know for sure.
Is that cheap? I don't know.
Well, like originally they sold for $300 million, and now she bought them for $350 million. And remember we were talking about Justin Bieber a couple weeks ago? He sold his entire catalog for $200 million.
Okay.
So this is just her first 6 albums. But basically, like the master recordings are like the original recording of the song, and you need those rights to be able to license that music. So say if you want to use it in a TV show or whatever, and that's what she wanted. So those are different than publishing rights, which she had because she writes all her own music, but she didn't have the master. So that's why when she re-recorded them, it kind of encouraged like these corporations and stuff to use her new recordings. But now she owns everything. So
that's crazy.
It's a pretty big deal.
She's going to get even richer.
Yeah.
But look, so she did the Eras tour with her new recordings, right? Like the re-recorded ones? Well, the tour that she did?
She just sang that live. What do you mean?
No, I mean like, why did she need to buy the old ones?
So she can
like
she just wants
benefit her.
She just wants to own the IP, right? Like for like she was saying, for the purpose of like for background music and
like
tracks and all
anytime
that
song is
TV
used
shows or anything.
in the future, she would get paid instead of.
It's also this thing, right? If you're the artist and you've created the work, there is this thing where you want to own it, right? And that's not how record labels and companies work, right? Like,
do you think that'll change now?
You know what? Like she wrote in the letter where she announced it, she wrote, quote, "Every time a new artist tells me that they negotiated to own their master recordings in their contract, because of this fight, I'm reminded how important it was for all of this to happen." So yeah, exactly. Like, should artists own their masters? And do you think this is gonna like inspire change in the music industry?
I mean, you saw Justin Bieber. We were talking about it last week, right? He just sold his catalog.
Yeah, but apparently he was broken. He needed the money.
Yeah, so that's my point.
Yeah.
If there's certain artists that are going to come up that need that cash advance that these record labels offer, right? And for those artists, even if they want to, they're not going to decide to keep their IP. Right? Like what's going to end up happening is they're going to take that cash advance because they want it now. Right? But then they don't realize that they're on the hook for so many.
They get stuck.
Right?
And you know another thing, like record labels are starting to add the stipulation that you can't re-record for a certain number of years.
Taylor did it. Wow.
That's smart.
These guys adapt quick.
Smart. Yeah. I mean, in today's day and age, like a middleman from music, I guess what are you paying for, right? Distribution, right? You also like people's are like Drake was claiming about these bot streams. Maybe that's part of it, right? Maybe that's how you get put on, right? Maybe there are bot streams that get, and they bump up your viewership, and now you get notoriety, and now you're on, right?
For sure.
I think it's hard, maybe for an individual artist, but also it's also the easiest that it's ever been, right? To put out music, SoundCloud, you start putting tracks on YouTube and stuff. We saw that one guy who just came out of nowhere that the country singer guy who had that one track. I don't know where he's gone now. He even went on Rogan.
He was huge. He was on Rogan.
Yeah, for like
One hit
like 2 weeks, he was massive.
Remember that guy? I forget his name. I know.
I even forget the song. That's how much we don't know him, right? But like, there's a couple of these.
But he
people,
got on Rogan.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who came up in the internet age, right?
I also think Taylor uniquely has the opportunity because she's already a billionaire that she can buy them pretty easily.
For sure,
right?
like your normal artist probably can't.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard for them to come up and make that amount of money and get to that place. Like she's way richer than a normal artist.
Yeah. The normal artist isn't going to be able to do that.
Now she's going to get richer because she's going to sell that.
Artist, Justin Bieber had to sell it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it might start a trend.
Yeah, like the way she's saying is that it's inspiring new artists to pay attention to this clause in their original contract.
That's hilarious, though.
But I can imagine like a new artist would do anything to get signed.
Just to get put on.
That's probably why.
It's probably why she did it too.
Yeah, exactly. And she was very young.
Yeah. They're like manipulated.
I think it extends past music. Like if you're doing anything that you are a creator of something, I think it's important to own the intellectual property.
Yeah.
Right? Like even in the podcasting space. Right? Like a lot of these podcasters, they go and they get bought out by these massive companies. Some of them allow them to hold the intellectual property. Some of them don't. Right? But even that is like more of a industry play, right? Because what if that person is the brand, right? Music is different because it's timeless. You can keep playing music over decades, years, right? With something like this, right? Like let's just say, or any podcast that gets bought out, right? Like if I don't know, Joe Rogan, right? If he doesn't own the intellectual property, if he's no longer creating Rogan podcasts and he's gone, you own the name. Is that really worth something?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
If he starts a, not a Joe Rogan experience, a Joe Rogan, I don't know, Starship, right? Like you can't.
That's why you tie your name to it,
Yeah.
What are they going to do with it?
Right. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Tinder. You guys know what Tinder is, right?
Yes, we do.
So they are allowing some users, paid subscribers specifically, to set a height preference.
Oh, damn.
So Tinder Gold and premium subscribers only for now. It's more meant for females because they're saying how subscriptions have went down. I didn't even know you could subscribe to Tinder.
We've been out of this game.
I haven't been in that game for a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't even
know that was a thing.
When I started, when we met, like I never been on an online dating app ever in my life. I've never been on one.
I've been.
Yeah.
I think it's before my time. So.
Yeah. But yeah, like, so do you think it's a good idea? Setting a height?
I don't think they should discriminate short kings, man. Problem.
And like guys can lie. Like signing up, you just lie.
Yeah, you can just lie, just stand on a stool.
Like even on your profile, you can just lie. Exactly. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I feel like it's like this.
This is where you would check your height, like your.
That's that's how it looks.
Yeah.
Oh, you get to.
Okay.
I feel like there's a part of it. Like I don't know if you guys have seen those clips online where they'll be like, okay, how much you want a guy to make, and he'll be like $100,000 a year, right? And then she'll be like, and then hopefully he's above 6'2", $150,000 a year, and he's has his degree, blah blah blah, and she'll list like 5 things, and then the guy will be like, there's like about 10,000 men like that in all of North America, right? And they'll give some stupid statistic. So I feel like this could be a reality check for somebody who puts height preference 6 feet 6 inches or whatever, right?
Like
and there's those
3 guys,
and nobody swipes your way. Like,
that being said, though, so like I'm tall. Right?
Yeah.
I don't like if I was on this type of site. I'm trying to meet a short king, right? It's not for me.
Yeah.
Like I kind of get it. It is very superficial, but Tinder is superficial. All you see is pictures of like. I don't know what people hold babies or have kids or I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But like I don't think there's anything that wrong with it, but I can understand like someone who is shorter.
Yeah.
It sucks.
That's true. It's insanely superficial, right? You're looking at how the person looks, right?
So even like I was reading like in this article, people in their bio already write like 6'1" or like indirectly say.
But how many guys have you met that say they're 6 feet? Right? And then like
5'11" guys, do I say?
There's a bunch of people here that are 5'11".
Might have claimed it once or twice.
Everyone does. I get it though. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guy, like I'm saying, I think this would be a reality check because I don't think there's a bunch of 6'3", 4 guys out there that make money and then or
a short girl won't be able to tell
Yeah.
if they're actually 6 feet or not, unless like there's like reference to like family members.
If you're tall, you know, hey,
Would
wait,
be able to tell.
wait, I'm 5'9". How the hell are you 5'9"?
yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. But let's move on to talk about cheese.
Cheese.
Yeah, so there's this cheese rolling event that happens in England. It's an annual event, so it's basically like a pretty wild race where people chase a wheel of cheese down a 180 meter steep hill.
Yeah,
and the cheese can reach
Oh my
speeds of
God.
70 miles per hour. Like they go really fast.
70
So
miles
here's
an
a
hour?
video, one video of it.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Oh, dang.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Well, that one dude is trying to do big flips, so it's clearly his man. Oh, not bad. Why are they doing this? I don't even see cheese.
Yeah, where's
they
the cheese?
roll down the cheese first.
And then these guys come tumbling down. They're just like falling down.
Yeah, and basically the objective is like the first person down the hill wins.
Yeah, but
and all you win is that wheel of cheese and quote unquote bragging rights. But like it's 100% people get injured.
That one guy
every year.
That one guy was headed towards a wall.
But think about like running with the bulls. It's
Yeah.
a thing. Why do people do it?
That's
Why do
crazy
they want to
too.
get right? It's just like a
It's a thing. It's a traditional thing. Like I get it, right? Like everyone does has weird
It was so strange.
like we would never do it, but
The funny
I mean,
thing
I only
is,
saw
like,
a
if you're
certain ethnicity then.
Oh, that's what I was saying. I'm like, this is seriously some white people.
what I saw was like, if you're saying is one person wins, there's already people at the bottom of the hill, and there's guys at the top going, "I'm next."
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, like why even bother?
yeah, somebody already won this
But
thing.
it's super steep, so I feel like once you start, you can't really stop.
A couple of those people seem like they like the steepness and they're trying to do backflips down it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
The one guy, like,
Like that first guy, he did a
yeah,
backflip.
yeah.
And that was just a for fun run.
Yeah.
That wasn't even to
what
win.
the hell?
And there's people there that look like they're falling on purpose because they just want to slide and roll down.
And then they just have like medics on call because people get
Shit.
injured.
This is so
For sure.
stupid.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Like, if you're getting to the end and you're winning like 100K.
And they do it every year, and it like draws international competitors.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
last
my
year, a
God.
Canadian girl won.
Wow.
Canada's winning somewhere, right? Making some moves out here, right?
winning cheese.
Taking home the cheese.
All right. Our last story is so you guys know what Mensa is, right? That's
Yeah.
the IQ Society.
Mhm.
So just for reference, it accepts people with high IQs, the top 2% of the population.
Mm.
So this year, a 2-year-old
Damn.
made
What?
a 2-year-old boy from the UK. So his name is Joseph Harris Brittle.
Wow.
So got accepted to Mensa. So
Daddy
just
cat dog.
to let you know what he's done, why he's why he got accepted. So he rolled over at 5 weeks, super early.
That's really
5 weeks, there's still like slots.
Yeah.
They're trying to like really move.
Oh, that's
He said
a
his
big deal.
first word at 7 months.
Oh wow.
He read his first book out loud at 21 months. He knows the Greek alphabet. He's learning Morse code. He can fluently speak 5 languages.
What the?
Wow.
He can count forwards and backwards over 100.
Yo.
2-year-old.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Over 100?
5 languages.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I was impressed by the numbers.
Yeah.
5 languages?
He's like, I
Five
can't even
languages.
count.
Yeah. That's
No,
wild. Like
that's
how
mind-blowing.
that happens.
I don't know. This guy's
can't
the
be.
next like Elon Musk though, clearly.
So apparently, like I was reading, there's like he just beat the last girl who was literally days older than him when she joined. She's from the States.
Mhm.
But like there's 2-3-year-olds just joining Mensa.
Mm.
No, but he should. That's insane.
Yeah, there's a girl, there was another girl in the article. She was, I think, 9 years old and she was graduating with her PhD.
What the
Oh my god, man. These kids make you
It's
feel
like
so
really
stupid.
impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
How can I make my kid do that?
Right? How do you?
I don't know.
Is it the schools that are enlisted in? Or?
He's 2.
Yeah,
no,
it might just be. It has to be some natural.
He's born with
Yeah, I think there is a part of that. I don't know if it's genetic, but like maybe there is a part of it,
Gifted.
right? You're just gifted.
That's wild.
I mean, we
5 languages.
Yeah.
So that's all we got for off topic.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the question segment. So we'll start with a ranking question. So rank these minor, awkward social moments without knowing what's next. And there's 5 of them. So number 1, holding the door for someone, but they're just a little too far away.
That happens to me so often, but it's not that awkward, right?
I think, yeah.
Are we ranking them on awkwardness?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that awkward. I think I've also gotten better with it over the years.
Like if he's too far, just
I just go. If
I
he's
just
too
don't
far.
hold the door for anybody. And
Ever?
I hate when people hold the door for me. That makes me feel awkward. I feel like I have to like hurry up.
Yeah, you
and
gotta
get
run
there.
to the door. Yeah.
So I don't like when people do it for me. So I don't hold it for anyone.
Oh, really? I hold it, and I like when people hold it.
Yeah. I do that, but like what I do is like if you're headed towards a door, right? I'll just start matching the person's speed.
Yeah.
Right. So it's either or speed walking, so you don't have to hold it, but like you either slow down or speed up. So then one person, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna obviously if he's right behind you, it's like and you just bounce, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Right? But like
You know what I do? I close the elevator quickly.
Yeah.
Like I
do
rush
it
it and
too.
close. Quick ones. So wait, what number?
I don't think it's that.
Four?
that's five. It's not that awkward.
Okay. Next, saying nice to meet you to someone you've already met.
Oh man,
That's more awkward.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, it's different if you just accidentally said it because you're tired or something, you didn't mean it, and you're like, you know what I mean, right? But if you actually don't know who the hell this person is,
That has happened to me.
why do these things always happen to you? You always forget people's names.
Always.
Or if the person calls you out, then it's super awkward.
Oh, yeah,
It's like nice to meet you. You already met me.
That's the awkward.
Like imagine.
That could like ease the tension.
Yeah.
I would say like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, we'll go for 3.
Okay, next. Someone talks over you and now it's too late to finish your sentence.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens here. We're always over talking.
5 to me now.
Yeah.
But
that's not that bad. 4.
4?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay, next.
Better not be that awkward.
Making a joke that no one laughs at and then there's silence.
Pretender.
That's like all the time.
Yeah.
I start laughing at my own jokes.
You gotta get the ball though.
Oh, people
Get
start
the
laughing.
cheese ball rolling.
Yeah, I
Where are we
mean,
going
it's
with
not that awkward.
Stop.
We put it at 2,
and 2 left.
and then we'll leave it at
We'll go
1
2?
open. Yeah.
So that's 2.
What's number 1?
So the last one, which is number 1, realizing mid-convo that you were wrong, but you already committed to your point.
Yeah, that's the most awkward by far,
Yeah,
man.
that's the most awkward.
Yeah. Well,
I think we did well.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll just end with a would you rather question. So would you rather have a voice that sounds like you're always sarcastic or one that makes everything sound like a dramatic movie trailer?
Sarcastic.
Movie trailer would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like this reflects your personalities. A dramatic movie theater over here.
That'd be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I could be the sarcastic guy.
And then you could use that to your advantage.
You
do
could
movie
use
trailer.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, that'd be so annoying
What?
if you did that.
What?
All the
day.
time.
but
all the
both
time?
would be. Wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you sure?
Are you sure it wouldn't be annoying?
Aren't you so smart?
Yeah,
I'm going with
Look
the
at these jokes. There's the jokes.
I got laughs.
And with that, it's a wrap. Remember, we're not experts on anything, and despite what anyone says, you guys should always do your own research.
Take care, everybody.